यशोदानन्दना व्रजजनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दना व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनातीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनातीरवनचारी यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनातीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी. Thank you all for joining. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you all for joining. I think we did till 2.13, right? Anybody remembers what was the last thing we discussed? We discussed Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tatha tehantara praptir dhiras tatra namoyati. So we said, just like, our soul, which is eternal, moves from a young boy, a newborn, to young boy, to an adult, and then old age. Subsequently, that same soul will to a new body. So by this change, which anyway is changing, our body is constantly changing. So we should not be bewildered when in the end, at the old age and death, our body, our soul will get a new body. So a sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Krishna is saying. So sober person means, someone that is dhira. So in Sanskrit, the word is used dhira. So whoever is dhira means he is a sober person. Means when do we use sober? Usually, we use sober for somebody who's drunk, who's always drunk, but then he stops drinking and then he becomes sober, right? So Krishna is telling us, all of us, to be sober and not be bewildered by such a change. What change is he talking? The change that happens at death. So we getting a new body is also a change. Just like our body is constantly changing. See, if you look at your young pictures, like your newborn or your parents may have saved in the albums, and if you look at it, really you can't recognize yourself. So that is how much of a bodily change we have. So the last change, I mean, not the last, but at the old age when our body dwindles, it can no longer work, because it is made of material constituents. It is made of panchabhutas, and eventually they will deteriorate. That is inevitable. So neither becoming old should be worrisome, because it is inevitable. I mean, that is the nature of material. So anybody that has a body made of material things, like earth, water, air, fire, and ether. So these are the panchabhutas that our body is also made of, and so it is going to deteriorate. So don't be bewildered by old age. Don't be bewildered by disease. That is also inevitable. And then don't be bewildered by death, at which time actually that old body will be left and our soul gets a new body. So that is what we discussed. And today we'll go to 2.14. मातृस्पर्शस्तु कौन्तेया शीतोष्णसुखदुःखदाः आगमापायिनो नित्यस्तां तितिक्षस्व भारत. So again, a very important verse among the Bhagavad-gītā. Actually, all this, what we are reading, this Sankhya Yoga, what Krishna is telling us, all these verses are very, very important. I mean, very significant. Like I said, no other Shastra, no other religion, no other culture will give you such deep philosophy here that the Bhagavad-gītā has, and that is why Bhagavad-gītā has such a wide application, and it is the most popular book in this entire creation. So let us see what he means now in 2.14. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. Matra sparsha means sensory perception, means the senses that we have. We have 5 senses: our eyes, nose, ears, tongue, and skin. So these are our 5 senses, which are material, because our body is material. These are material senses. And then of course we have 5 more senses, which are karma indriyas, means they do things, like your 2 hands, 2 legs, your rectum, and the genitalia. So these are the karma indriyas, means they do. So there are 5 organs which take in the stimuli, like even if you medically see, they take in the stimuli, and then there are other organs which will discharge the functions of the body. So matra sparsha means sensory perception. So whatever we are perceiving with these senses, shitoshna sukha dukkha daha. Shita means summer, and sita means winter, ushna means summer. So just like you get summer and winter, so you get these seasons keep changing throughout the year. Nobody can stop that. Just like that, you also have sukha dukkha daha. So you also have sukham and dukkham. So you have happiness alternating by pain. So in your lives, again, you may have experienced there are time periods that we are happy, and that happiness is interrupted by a pain, and then so it is for everybody. It is up and down. It may be relatively less turbulent for somebody, and more turbulent, like some may experience great pain at times, and some may experience great happiness. But regardless of the degree of happiness, everybody goes through the cycle of happiness and misery. So sukha dukkha daha. Agamapayino nityas. Agamapayino means they appear. Agama is appear, and apayina is disappear. So these things also, just like the weather changes, your happiness and distress will also change, come and go, appear and disappear. Then he's saying agama paino anityas. Anityas means they are non-permanent. Nitya means permanent. Anitya means non-permanent. Tam sitikshasva bharataha. Titikshasva is a very important word here that Krishna is trying to tell us, means tolerate. So just tolerate. Bharata means, oh, descendant of Bharata dynasty. So that's what he's referring Arjuna to as in this verse, as a descendant of Bharata dynasty. So if you read, so we've kind of, tried to understand the Sanskrit terms. If you read the translation, he's saying, O son of Kunti, son, the Bharata, descendant of Bharata, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O Shayan of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So a very important message for all of us in this life. So pay attention to, what all is there in that translation. So he's saying non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress. So non-permanent means temporary. So happiness and distress are temporary. And how are they temporary? Just like, winter and summer come and go, your happiness and distress also come and go. And that is why you should tolerate them. How should you tolerate them? Without being disturbed. So we should not be disturbed by such distractions in our lives, is what this verse is saying. So in our lives, whatever duty we are trying to discharge, we have a lot of ups and downs. You can experience in your personal life, in your social life, in your work life. So everybody has ups and downs in their life. Just like, our seasons also, nobody can say, I don't like winter, I need the entire year to be summer. So just like we tolerate the extremes of weather. I mean, in India, it's not very extreme, but, I've lived in like the US for a long time where 6 months is like extremely cold, snowy, you can't even get out of the house. So, those extremes of weather, we have to tolerate. There's nothing you can do about it. So just like that, even in our life, there will be some things that are beyond our control. So here, those that we can control, yes, we can, but then there are things that are beyond our control, and that we should learn to tolerate. And Srila Prabhupada in the Papa gives examples of, season is one. And then he also says, women who cook in the kitchen. So in summer, kitchens get very hot. Our home gets very hot. But so the mother cannot say, it's very hot today, I'm not going to cook for my children, right? So regardless of the heat, she tolerates and how she cooks in the afternoon. Just like that, we also have to discharge our duty regardless of the circumstances that we are exposed to. And so here is telling Arjuna, so Kshatriya's duty is to fight, right? So regardless of the situation he's in, means regardless of him having to kill his relatives, his gurus and his forefathers, he has to do it. So he has to tolerate that difficulty that he's facing in terms of killing his relatives, because he's a Kshatriya, because it is his prescribed duty to fight the war. He should. So he should not get distracted by this seemingly unhappy situation that he's in, which is seeing the relatives on the war field. So here Krishna is using two terms for Arjuna. Once he's saying Kaunteya. Kaunteya means son of Kunti. And then in the end he's saying Bharata. Tam Sitikshasva Bharata. Bharata means descendant of Bharata, Bharat Maharaj. So here he's using, very significant. Why is he using these words? Because he wants to remind Arjuna that, he's son of Kunti, a great dynasty, son of Kunti, and then son of, dynasty of Bharata. So because he's from a great heritage, it becomes all the more important that he discharges his duty as a Kshatriya. Otherwise, the whole dynasty can get infamy. So he's just reminding Arjuna of his duty. So this is the meaning of this verse. And so there is a lot to learn for us, in this verse, because it talks about tolerance. So what is tolerance? Tolerance, I think nowadays it's very much used for things like religious tolerance. Like you have to tolerate Islam, you tolerate Christianity, not that religious tolerance. So we are not talking about religious tolerance at all here. We are talking about a deeper tolerance. Where in our life the situations we come across, how we should tolerate. So in context to bhakti and in context to Bhagavad-gītā, It says when we are doing our activities, we get these distractions and we get these difficulties and we get distracted. So when you have to tolerate means you have to stay away from these distractions and have your goal in focus and continue to do that. So that is the nature of a dhira. A sober person will tolerate and continue on his duty. But then the question may come up, many will ask if, tolerance means, how much should we tolerate? Does it mean importance? So it is not importance, meaning, you don't let people, I'm not saying, be tolerant to a lot of nonsense enough to be stepped upon, but tolerance doesn't mean that we are letting other people step on us or abuse us. But tolerance is also, tolerance is actually not weakness. Some people may think, if somebody has, said something mean and we stay quiet, that doesn't means we tolerate that. That doesn't mean we are important or we are weak. And that's a very, in today's society, that is a very general impression that many people have. So if the opposite person is tolerating, it is seen as a sign of weakness, but it is not. Actually, it is a sign of, great strength, because only strong people can tolerate. The weak people cannot even tolerate, a small infliction of, somebody saying something or somebody doing something, they cannot tolerate. So tolerance is actually comes out of a lot of spiritual advancement, a lot of focus a person need to have, and it is very essential aspect of human life, because just like this verse is saying, there are a lot of ups and downs, there are a lot of, appearance and disappearance of distress and pain, and if we are not tolerant, then we will be very disturbed, we will be very agitated. So in this context, we can understand a few things in context of tolerance. So we are discussing what tolerance is, and by the fact that Krishna is telling this verse is very important, because suppose we have a disease, and then suppose a doctor gives you details of what to expect. Like he may say, you'll have a little bit of fever for this, or you may have some cough with this disease, or then he could give you a medicine and he can explain the side effects to you, like with this medicine you'll have some cough or some low BP or something he may tell you. So knowing the disease and knowing the treatment or the side effects, will be more prepared. So similarly here, Gita is telling us that, Gita is informing us that, this material world that we are living in, because it is material, because it is temporary, we all have to go through these material, ups and downs in our life. So he's informing us, keeping us informed, and he also reminds us that we are inside, we are transcendental beings, and outside what we have, including this body to start with. So we have this body outside, this is temporary, and in the world we see outside, that is also temporary. The only permanent thing is our soul. So, and because we are transcendental beings, so this we have to understand. So Gita is giving one knowledge of soul and body. So what is temporary, what is permanent, and it is also giving you the information that this material world is going to have dualities. So if we don't understand these two things, then what happens whenever a change comes, we are in denial. Like for example, change could be something like you lost your job, or you lost somebody. Then our first response would be to be in denial. So we deny that this thing is happening to me, and then after denial, what do? We want to resist that change. So we don't want to let go of that person, or we don't want to let go of that job. And then if that job is still taken away, then we resent, we fret, and we rant. So this is our typical emotional response to something we lose. And when you have this response, it actually drains a lot of energy, our emotional energy, and then it will not allow us to address the real problem. So what Krishna is telling here is, by understanding that we are, even though the body is changing, even though the body will dwindle and die, we are essentially, means our soul is us. Our soul is essentially unchanging, and so we should not be threatened by change. So that is what Bhagavad-gītā's wisdom will help us understand. So that we are eternal, means the soul is eternal and the body is temporary. So that understanding, again, not just theory, it takes a long time to, actually feel like, I am the soul, I'm not this body. I mean, I've heard this for years together, but to actually realize that takes takes great many years, but it's, it's a start. At least we are getting that knowledge. So when we are spiritually, when we are empowered by this knowledge, then maybe, to the situations around us, we won't get very agitated. So we should be less agitated by changes in our life, and we should, instead of using that energy to get very agitated, we should focus to how to respond to this. So if you have the spiritual knowledge, we have less resistance to change. So we are acceptable of changes. And I think that's a big part of, our lives, because many people have, trouble accepting changes. So this will help. And then
including Mataji.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because of this incapability of tolerance only, suicidal thoughts are also emerging because they don't know how to
Yes, handle the
know.
situation. Very, very true. Very true. Yeah.
Oh,
The rate of suicide is really increasing among youth worldwide. Also in India, actually, the numbers are very staggering. Once, I was just looking at the numbers, and very, very staggering numbers we have. And yes, for small things, we are not tolerating. Like, somebody keeps getting first rank throughout, and then suddenly he gets a second rank, he's not able to tolerate. I mean, people study for IIT, all, their 11th and 12th, and they get into IIT. And if they are not, getting a good rank, or they're not able to take the stress of that IIT, so many deaths are being reported in IIT. Even in, even in medical students, among medical students also, the rate of suicide is increasing. So this is all because, people are not understanding first the temporary nature of this world. So for them, these temporary things of, getting a first rank, or, having some prestige in the society is so important, that they're losing the bigger picture, losing the bigger picture of who we are, and, what is our purpose in this life, and what is our relationship with God. So I think that's very important. And that's why very important to get this spiritual understanding, while you're in school. Unfortunately, not happening. So much resistance in schools, when we go to preach Bhagavad-gītā, on the name of secularism, people are just, not allowing this knowledge. I mean, there's nothing religious about Bhagavad-gītā at all. I mean, soul is there in everybody, body is there for everybody. So it's a very, actually, Bhagavad-gītā is not even a religious text.
scientific.
It is universal. The application of Bhagavad-gītā is universal. But because, this stupid so-called secularism or pseudo-secularism, people are not allowing the Gita to be, propagated. So we've actually been to so many schools, trying to, give this message, simple message to, school students, which is going to make them really internally very strong. Otherwise, very difficult, withstand this material world, but not happening. Slowly, some changes we are seeing. So let us see where this goes. So in terms of tolerance, we have to understand that, the world is not like some, some toy or some Legos that, we can put it according to our wishes. So the world will not run according to your wishes. The world has, has a pattern, or, people around you also may not be amenable to change. I mean, how many people around you can change? It's actually, the best thing is to, change ourselves, is to mold ourselves according to your situation. Because again, when you have a difference of opinion with another person, and you're trying to change the person, and the person doesn't change, it's very frustrating. Actually, it's another very important cause of, broken relationships. So we have to tolerate everybody regardless of, their nature. Everybody is born with a personality. Everybody has a nature to themselves, and they may not change. Yes, some changes, some adjustments have to be there, I'm not saying, but the core personality may not change. So then those things have to be tolerated, especially, if you're living with that person. Then again, the acharyas explain that tolerance doesn't mean to accept all inequalities. It just means that, you understand that there is inequality in this world. So much inequality we see around it. So we should not get very agitated about it, and just understand that, inequality exists in this world for whatever reason, and some of it we should tolerate. If it is a gross, injustice happening to you, yes, you have a reason to, fight or protest, but we should not obsess over, equality for everybody. That doesn't happen in this world. So instead of, focusing on the worldly inequalities, let us all, focus on our individual spirituality, how to build it up in order to endure some of these dualities that we are seeing. So suppose there's a situation that is, very frustrating or very serious. Something has happened in your life that you're not able to tolerate. the magnanimity of that event, may really strike you. So some big tragedy happened, and then you're very disturbed because, for you, the future seems, very shaky. So you're not imagining, you're thinking like, the rest of your life is all doomed. So we spend a lot of energy about, imagining what is going to happen to us when we meet something in our life that is a negative event in the life. So in such cases, the practical advice is, to reduce the working frame. What does reduction of working frame mean? Means you don't, imagine the rest of your life as being miserable, or rest of the year being miserable. Suppose same thing, if you lose a job, then you're going to start imagining, I won't have money, I won't have a job for another 6 months, then, how am I going to pay my bills, how am I going to support people? So that magnanimity of that event will strike you so hard that then, people can't face the situation, and then, some of these bad events like suicides happen. So when you're overwhelmed and when you're paralyzed by, an event in your family or in your life, then the best thing is to, take small things together. Like, you just think of today, what am I going to do today? Now I'm faced with this situation. So let me just take today and see, what I can fix today or what I can do today. And sometimes not even today, this 1 hour, this 1 hour, I'm not going to, hyperventilate, or not going to collapse and, have a breakdown, nervous breakdown or something. So this 1 hour, what am I going to do? How am I going to deal with the situation? Usually most of them have some solution. It may not be a very favorable solution, but they all have some solution. So, and then at those times, again, remind yourself that, the situation is also temporary. Just like, the seasons are temporary. No matter, what the tragedy is, it is going to be temporary, and you'll eventually come out of it. We say, time heals. And also, the Supreme Lord is standing behind you to, take you through difficulties also. So take small chunks at a time. So today, what am I going to do? Tomorrow, what am I going to do? And then so you'll have the time to, absorb that negative event. And then at the same time, gather your spirits to be able to work towards an alternative approach that, you have lost. So these are some of the practical things. And most of the time when a negative event happens, again, the impact is large, and we think, that is the end of our life. But most of the time we are able to, get up and walk. So just like, suppose there's a big storm, you're walking on the road, there's a big storm, and then you're knocked down, so you're like completely on the road, and you're unable to get up. But eventually, that storm will go away. No storms will last forever. So when the storm goes away, when it's no longer windy, you can get up and walk. So similarly, no matter, how big the event is, a negative event in your life, it will eventually go away, and then you will be able to stand back up and walk. So the walk may not be as pleasing as your walk before, but then you will be able to get up and walk and keep your focus, back on your spiritual identity. So all this, when we read verses like this, it helps us to connect with Krishna and to access that inner strength. So that we all have to constantly do for that internal balance. Otherwise, life outside can be very disturbing. And then, like I said, sometimes you have to focus suppose again something happened in your life. You have to focus, is there anything I can change? And is there something I cannot change? So there's always variables, some variables you cannot change, and those you have to learn to tolerate. And the variables that you can change, yes, you should work at it and change. Again, tolerance doesn't mean, okay, this thing happened and I'm not going to do anything about it. No, you tolerate the ones that is not under your control, and then you work on the things that are under your control. And that is so tolerance is not passivity. It is not passivity at all. It is the ability to recognize what I can control and what I cannot control. So that is what a smart person will do, a tolerant person will do. So tolerance will keep your inner balance amidst the outer provocation. So when you have outer provocations, this tolerance feature that if you develop, it will give you an inner balance. And once when you're actually balanced inwardly only, you can again take measures for the outwardly imbalance. So it's like a catch-22. So there's an outer disturbance, you keep your inner balance, and when you keep the inner balance, you can change the outer circumstances. So that is how you should do it. And I've heard one of the seniors say, like problems, are like leeches, I believe. So what does a leech do? the leech will, tightly hold on to your skin and suck the blood. So if you're trying to remove the leech, like, if you're trying to, remove the problem, the leech doesn't let it go until it drinks the whole blood. And sometimes, part of the leech comes out, but the fangs that are inside your skin will not come out. So instead of, forcibly extracting the leech, what you should do is you should wait for some time. Once the leech finished its drinking the amount of blood that it wants to drink, it will automatically leave your body and go. So problems are also like that. So we should not try to force things out. Sometimes giving time, meaning staying calm in the face of distress sometimes is helpful. So this is about tolerance that Krishna is saying. So Tam Sitiksha Bharata. You tolerate these situations. That's the advice he's giving Arjuna and to all of us. Actually, I think all of us need this from time to time. Okay, we will go to any questions here. Clear?
Good to go, Mataji.
Yeah. Then 2.15.
Clear, ma'am.
Yeah. Clear? Okay.
Clear,
Yam-
ma'am. Yeah.
Yam hina vyatyanti ete purusham purusharshapha samadukha sukham dhiram so mrittatvaya kalpate. So here, similar thing, Krishna saying, oh, best among men. So here he's referring to Arjuna as Purusham Purusharshabha. Purusham means, Purusha is, the person. And Purusharshabha means the best of men. So among all the men that are born, he is the best of men. Samadukha Sukham Dhiram. So Sama Sukha Dukkam Dhira means unaltered, a person who is unaltered by distress and happiness. So again here they are using Sukha Dukkam. So Sukha is happiness, Dukkha is unhappiness. So again this word comes Sama. Sama means unaltered. So if you're again maintaining your balance through this Sukha and Dukkha, Dhiram, again this word Dhiram means patient. So you're patient through these ups and downs, you're unaltered by these ups and downs. So Mrittatvaya Kalpate. So Kalpate is eligibility. Amartatvaya means for liberation. So such a person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. So so Krishna has advised Arjuna to be Dhira, to tolerate the dualities, and now he's telling us the benefit of tolerating the duality. So one, we've discussed the benefits of in our personal life, in a practical way, how we can handle, how we can be less disturbed, how we can focus on the result and all. And there's also another greater benefit. What is that greater benefit of being a Dhira? Krishna is saying you'll be eligible for liberation. What is liberation? Liberation is, when your soul is relieved from this material body. So we are all, souls trapped in this material body. And when we can liberate ourselves from this material body and material concept of life, that is liberation. Liberation is again, not anything small. The yogis that are meditating, in the Himalayas, they are expecting to be liberated. So it is not an easy thing. It may take years of meditation, years of tapasya to be able to liberate yourself from this body. But Krishna is saying, if you behave like this, then you will be eligible for liberation. So anyone who is studying in his determination for advanced stage of spiritual realization and can tolerate the onslaughts are eligible. So if we are serious in bhakti and if we are serious, seriously wanting to get spiritual realization and liberation, then we have to work on this feature of being undisturbed through happiness and distress. This we have to practice. Otherwise, a lot of so many apart from suicide, so many psychological problems. I think 1 in 3 US statistics. We don't have good statistics in India, but I'm sure it is similar. So every 1 in 3 persons seeks psychiatric support, psychiatric or psychological support in the US. I mean, that's like a manifest psychiatric illness. And there are so many that are, not like may not fit into the definition of a psychiatric problem, but psychologically they need. And actually, many more than that. I'm hearing, I mean, the numbers are in India is also going up. Of course, we don't have good statistics. And even now we have that little stigma that, people don't come out that they need psychological help. But actually many need. My daughter-in-law is a psychologist. So she keeps telling like, almost every teenager, every youth needs, at some point to some counseling by a psychologist. So everybody seems to be, very disturbed. So, so we have to learn this quality of, not being disturbed, of tolerating things in our life. So here, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, like, if you look at your varnashrama, varnashrama means your varnas, you're initially student, a brahmana, then you're a brahmana, somebody who's
Mataji, the video has stuck.
Hare Krishna. I know somehow my phone has become very hot. I don't know how much longer it will go, but 1 second. Let me try to connect to my laptop. Again, my Wi-Fi is a problem. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, let me see. If it becomes too hot, I may have to end soon today. Somehow my Wi-Fi is not working. So, so what was I saying? Yes. So in the Varnashrama Dharma, there are Brahmana, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. So 4 ashramas. And they're saying, especially, if one wants to become a sannyasa, then you need a lot of, tolerance in terms, it can be painful because they're leaving the family and all the relationships. So they give up all their family and relationships and they are going and taking sannyasa. So just like, that is difficult. Again, being a Kshatriya also can be very difficult because this is a situation that Arjuna is facing. But what they're saying, regardless of their difficulty, the perception, whatever their ashrama demands, whatever their prescribed duty demands, like for Arjuna, it demands that he be a warrior, then those you have to do. So that is the way of achieving liberation. And we have an example of, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I told you Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Kali Yuga incarnation of Krishna. And he actually takes sannyas at the age of 23 years, leaving a beautiful wife and mother. So sometimes in life, to achieve, a bigger spiritual realization, you may have to bear, with these painful situations. Okay. And okay. So, yeah. So then, okay. Next 2.16. Nashato vidyato bhavo na bhavo vidyate sataha ubhayorapi drishtontas tvanayos tvatpadharshivi. So here, nashato vidyate bhavo means nashato is something that is not existent. Okay, means never non-existent. Bhavaha means endurance, and abhavaha is a changing quality. And ubayor means two. I'll read the translation for you. Those who are seers of truth have concluded that of the non-existent, which means the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, which is the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. So those who are seers means, those who have seen this higher truth, means the spiritually realized people have understood that the soul, there is no change, means it's eternal. And for the body, there is always a change, means it is non-existent or non-permanent. So material body is non-permanent and soul is eternal. And this, by studying the nature of both, means they have studied in detail the nature of material body and nature of soul, and they are giving us this advice. So there is no endurance of the changing body, because the body is ever changing. There is no endurance. And this is admitted, even even medical science understands that, body changes, like we discussed, like, all the cells are regenerating all the time and the bodies are changing. But the spirit and spirit soul is existing permanently, remaining the same despite all changes in the body. So our external appearance is changing, but the soul which is there in all of us, which is part and parcel of Krishna, there is no change at all. So this is a difference between matter and spirit. So we have to be very clear in our understanding, what is matter, what is spirit. So spirit is eternal, non-changing. Matter is temporary and ever-changing. So this conclusion, who have given the seers of truth, means, the spiritually realized people, like, the saints and sadhus who are spiritually realized, they have seen, they have a higher understanding than what we have, and they have given us this. And in Vishnu Purana also, it is stated that his abodes, the Lord's abodes are self-enumerated spiritual existence. Jyotimshi Vishnur Bhuvanani Vishnu, means spiritual existence is permanent and it is self-illuminated. And this existent, non-existent refers to spirit and matter only. And so the spiritual world, because it is spirit, is permanent. And this material world, this material creation, what we are seeing around us, all the universes, the galaxies, everything in the material purview is all temporary. So they say in creation, there is 2/3 of it is spiritual, and only 1/3 is material. And between the spiritual existence and material existence, there is this Brahma Jyoti that we see. The light is there, and then there is also a Karana ocean. Karana Samudram antar kada. So that is between the material creation and spiritual existence. So this knowledge Krishna is giving, so that we are come out of our ignorance. So how does this impact us, means of the soul and body? So we started talking about soul and body, and understanding the eternal nature of soul and temporary nature of body is very important. And then while we understand that, we have to develop some vidya. Vidya means we have to come out of our avidya, which is ignorance. So the ignorance we have to leave. So what is that true knowledge that is coming out of this? Is that we are souls that have a material body outside that is going to perish, and as a soul we keep getting different bodies. And so what is the soul part of? The soul is part of Krishna. So it is a part and parcel of Krishna, and last time I told you it comes from the marginal energy of Krishna. So it is coming from Krishna. So we all have a direct relationship. We have an eternal relationship actually to God by the fact that we are his parts. So the Srila Prabhupada is saying, so removal of ignorance involves the re-establishment of eternal relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable, and consequent understanding of the difference between part and parcel living entities and the Supreme Personality. So with this knowledge of soul, what do we have to do? We have to first understand that we came from the Supreme Being, and we are part and parcel of him. And so we have a relationship with him that we have forgotten because of this body around us, but we have this spiritual nature, material nature, how we are part of Krishna and how we have to go back. So all this is given in detail in Srimad Bhagavatam and the Vedanta Sutras. And then here Bhagavad-gītā is giving us one first step towards understanding that this is what we have to do. Okay. So by understanding the nature of the soul and the body, we will develop this understanding of our relationship with Krishna. Okay, I think I'm going to I'm going to see, I'm going to start in other words, but if I get disconnected, then that will be then I won't connect back because my phone is really hot. Okay. So we will do 2.17, which is also another important verse. Avinashitu tadviti yena sarvam idam tatam vinasham avyayasyasya na kaschit kartum arhati. So here Avinashi means imperishable, means something that you can't destroy. And then Ena sarvam idam tatam means that which is indestructible. So what is indestructible? We read in the previous verses. What part of us is indestructible?
The soul.
Soul, right? So the soul, that which is
Soul,
indestructible. Yeah. So the soul which is indestructible, Ena sarvam idam tatam means sarvam means all of the body. So it is pervading our body. Tatam means pervading. Then vinasham avyayasya. Vinasham means to destroy. Avyayasya means again that which does not deteriorate. Like, with old age or when things get old, they deteriorate. So this soul will not deteriorate. And then na kaschit kartum arhasi means no one is able to destroy this. Nobody able to destroy this. So that which pervades the translation I'm reading, that which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. So what pervades our entire body? The soul pervades our entire body, and that is indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. So, many verses come where we talk about the indestructible nature of the soul, and this is the first one, and then many more verses will come. So the soul is indestructible, we have to understand, and the soul is pervading all our body. So this verse is more clearly explaining the real nature of the soul, which is spread all over the body. So what we have to understand is, see, this consciousness that we have, this life that we have. So I'm able to read, I'm able to move my hand, I'm able to talk. So all this is because I'm a conscious being, right? So something in me has given me this life that is able to do all this. So the fact that I feel pain, I feel pleasure, I'm able to do things with my body are all because I am conscious, right? So people may ask, what is the evidence that we have soul? But this consciousness that you're seeing in everybody means that there is a soul. So soul, body minus soul is what? A conscious body minus soul is? If you remove the soul from the body, what happens?
Dead body.
It's a dead body, yes. So it becomes only matter. So the fact that we are alive, we are functioning, we are feeling, willing, and sensing, that means we have a soul that is pervading all our body. And once the soul leaves the body, then our body will become a dead body. So the evidence that we have soul is our individual consciousness, the fact that we are conscious. And little detail about the soul is given in Shveteshvatara Upanishad, which says, Balagra Shatabhagasya Shatadi Kalpitasya cha Bhago Jivam sa Vishneya sa chananyate kalpate. So the Shveteshwara Upanishad is actually giving you details of the soul, which we cannot see with our material eyes, because our material eyes have some limitations. See, don't think that yes, we are seeing this world with our eyes, but what we see is very, very, very limited. So all our senses are very limited. I mean, in fact, we can't even see the ultraviolet rays or X-rays that we know exist. So how much more we don't see, we only know. So the Upanishad says that how is the soul? If you take the tip of your hair, like suppose you take one piece of your hair, the upper part, you break it into 100 parts, and then that one part you break it into another 100 parts, means 1,000 parts. If you break that little speck that you get out of breaking a hair into 1,000 parts, that is the size of the soul. So the Shastras have described the size of the soul. So Keshagra Shatabhagasya Satamsha Sadrishatmakaha Jiva Sukshmo Swarupoyam Sankhyatito hi Chit Kanaha. So this also the Upanishad says. What does this mean? That there are innumerable particles of spiritual atoms which are measured as 1/10,000th of the upper portion of the hair. So there are two verses that are telling you that The soul size is 10,000th of your upper portion of your hair. And this little tiny speck of, soul is enough to even make an elephant walk. So the size of the soul, I believe, is same in the ant, same in the human being, and same in the elephant. So imagine the big size of the elephant's body, and the same atomic soul is making the elephant also do things. So that is important to understand. So this individual particle or spirit soul, or you can even call spiritual atom, is present everywhere, including actually the non-living things. This spark is everywhere, and it is a basic principle of our body at least. So the fact that our body is able to do so much is because we all of us have this spirit spark in us that is giving us consciousness. So a material body minus consciousness is a dead body. So a material body minus the soul is a dead body. And this consciousness usually cannot be revived, right? When the soul leaves, then it cannot come back into that same body. So again, there is some explanation in the Mandaka Upanishad also. You can read the verse, it's there in Sanskrit. It says the soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. This atomic soul is floating in 5 kinds of air. See, we have some airs in our body. They are prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. And so the soul that we are describing is floating in the air of these 5 kinds of air. And where is it located? You may all want to know, where this soul is located, and it is located in the region of the heart, actually within the heart. It sits within the heart and spreads its influence all over the body. So they say when you're purifying your soul, these 5 airs are very contaminated. So these 5 kinds of airs get purified, and then you will feel the spirit soul inside of you. Right now you're not feeling. This spirit soul is also sitting with what is called the super soul or Paramatma. And Paramatma I described is a very small, like I don't know, some part of an inch, and is in a 4-handed Vishnu form. So that is super soul, and he also resides within the area of the heart. So see, all these yogis, they do Hatha Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga and all. What they're trying to do is they're trying to control this air. So by different postures, they do these intense postures and meditation and all those. And by that, one second. So by that, they control these airs. And if you control the airs, then they can liberate themselves. Meaning by just controlling these airs, they can sometimes they have a choice, like they can allow their soul to leave the body. And that's what most yogis are intending, because that soul, according to them, can merge into the Brahman, where there is Brahmananda. So this is what yogis are trying to do by the Hatha Yoga system. So, and then all Vedic literatures, not just, Bhagavad-gītā, but all the other Vedic literatures are also talk about this soul. So the fact, our Sanatana Dharma, everybody agrees that, this soul is a reason for life and reason for consciousness, reason for existence, and that this soul moves on to next body. So the theory of reincarnation is well accepted by all our Sanatana Dharma, heritage. Not accepted by Islam or Christianity. For them, it is just this life. And even in some of our, so-called Hindus, the impersonalists, they believe that, there's just one life. So when this body perishes, your Atma also perishes. That is completely unbased. So there's no, sound evidence base for that. Bhagavad-gītā itself is telling you that, soul is indestructible. So it goes from one body to the other. So that fact should explain to us that, we have this body in this lifetime, but our soul must have traveled to many, many, many bodies, including animal bodies, insect bodies, worm bodies, bird bodies, everything. And now we have gotten a human body. And that's why it is so, so important. They say Manushya Janma is very rare, very, very దుర్లభం. మనుష్య జన్మ దుర్లభం అంటారు. దుర్లభం అంటే చాలా కష్టపడితే కానీ రాదు మనకి మనుష్య జన్మ. సో ఎందుకు, why is this special, this human body? Because we have a higher intelligence to question the spiritual matters. So in an animal body, even though the soul is same, we cannot get this knowledge, the spiritual knowledge that we are getting today, or the spiritual practices of, meditating, hearing, doing service to the Lord, we cannot do with the other body. So that's why this human body is very, very, very precious. So that's why we should all, utilize it completely. Without utilizing, if we are just doing, what animals are doing, like eating, sleeping, mating, and dying, then you've like really, really wasted a very important body that you have gotten, because we don't know what our next body will be at all. So that's why they say, utilize this body, utilize this life, because it is very rare. uh, mm, and we've already went through so many lifetimes to come to this platform. So if we waste again, you're going to like restart the whole cycle. So you're going to go into a mother's womb. You're going to, stay there for 9 months. Then you're going to come out. You're going to do your schooling. You're going to do everything. The whole process starts again. And if you're not taking to devotion service, even in that life, then you'll have to be born again. So that cycle has been going on and on and on, and don't know how many millions of lifetimes we have passed through this. So at some point, especially, now that you have come to the knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā, it is time to say, that you're not going to repeat this cycle. So get this higher knowledge, spiritual knowledge, so that you can live your life well and get spiritual realization. So this is what the Shastras are saying. So, so that is about the soul. So soul, they also compare the atomic particles of soul. They are comparing sunshine molecules. So just like, there are these sparks come out of the sun, like that, from the Supreme Lord, these sparks of the soul come. And sometimes these atomic sparks are called Prabha. So whether one, in the purport, they say, whether one follows Vedic knowledge or modern science, one cannot deny the existence of spirit soul in the body. And the science of the soul is explicitly described in the Bhagavad-gītā by the Supreme Lord himself. So Krishna is personally coming and giving us this knowledge of the soul, which again is not there in anywhere. Modern science has advanced very much, but has failed to recognize or detect the soul, because it is spiritual. See, modern science and scientists can only dictate, or not dictate, invent or describe the matter. Because with our senses, scientists have the same senses. Of course, we may have microscopes and other gadgets, but our knowledge is what do you say, limited to material understanding. We don't have a spiritual understanding, because our senses are not capable of, the way we are now, it's not capable of understanding spirit. So that's why we have to depend on the Shastras, because this have been written by Krishna himself, or other sages who are spiritually realized. So these are all extra, powerful or realized people that are giving us this knowledge. So, and then we discuss why, why we should believe Shastra and all. So, so the scientists are again very unfortunate that, scientists themselves, most of them are atheists, although they are just inventing what has been created. So they think they are creators, but what will they invent if the Lord has not created anything? I mean, that's like the basic question. But somehow I've seen a lot of, like, who's that? Stephen, what's his name?
Hawking.
Hawking, a very big, scientist. He is an atheist. So he keeps discovering so many things, I don't know, planetary motion, this and that. But if somebody has not created, what is there to invent? They are not creating it. So we have to understand. So our knowledge, even, all of us, if we become, today great scientists or, CEOs or anything, we have to come back to the basic roots that, there is a creator behind this creation. Once Einstein, of course, Einstein is different. Einstein is a great follower of Bhagavad-gītā, I heard. So once Einstein is in his room, and he has a model of a solar system on his table. And he had a friend who was an atheist. So that friend came and he said, wow, this model is so beautiful. Who made this? So Einstein said, I didn't make it, was just there. So the friend said, come on, don't joke. Somebody has to make this model. Otherwise, why will it come onto your table? And Einstein kept saying, no, it just came. It just came out of nowhere. Some bang happened in my room, and I opened my eyes and this solar system was sitting on the table. So he says like that. And the scientist says, you're simply joking. Yes, because if a small model of 8 planets or 9 planets cannot come without a person making it. How can this entire not solar system, galaxies, universes, multiverses, how can all this come without anybody making it? So this Big Bang theory and this evolution theory all have been actually proved wrong, because just to promote atheism, people have propagated all this. Nothing can come out of bang. A bang, we all know, can explode things. It cannot create things. So have we, can we bang something and get some model? Like, can I bang something and get a mobile phone? Or can I, break something and get a laptop? Nothing happens. I mean, even a small pen has to be made by somebody. So how are we expecting, this whole creation? And we know that there's a creation. Scientists are seeing the planets, seeing the everything, and then they still deny the existence of God, which is very perplexing to me. But so all of us here have to understand that there's a creator behind this. There's a designer, because has any time Earth banged into the sun, or Jupiter banged into the Saturn? Nothing. So they all are timed. They're all programmed to go along their orbits, and there has to be a great programmer to allow all this to happen. Everything cannot be spontaneous. Actually, nothing can be spontaneous. I mean, you try something that runs, without your intervention in your home or something, it just is not possible. So I think people who promote atheism is they just don't want to follow any rules. Like even in our day-to-day life, people who don't want to believe in God, they don't want to believe in God, because once you say there is God, then there's an expectation of, worshiping God, or, at least, following his rules, following laws of nature. So people who are outright arrogant, who don't want to follow any laws of nature, any laws in this life, and want to live a very whimsical life, they deny God. Because once you accept God, then, the expectation is there of doing something, some seva or some acknowledgement of God, which they don't want to do. So we should not all, we should not be in that path. And actually, with all this knowledge, you should also be able to refute some of these arguments, because I know in colleges and hostels, these arguments come about, God is there or not there, and all this knowledge for you all, yeah, youth, you may have friends who, deny the existence of God up and down. I mean, in my family also, I have many atheists that I keep discussing, but we should all be equipped with knowledge, so, we can refute it. Because the more the atheism is promoted, the more the society will go into chaos. So from your side, please have a strong foundational knowledge of all this, so you can, discuss with your friends. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions I can take?
One quick, Mataji. See, can you tell me few immediate steps that we can adapt so that we will not get influenced by the happiness and the sadness? In the previous verse, you said that we are getting influenced by, but what are the few immediate steps that we can adapt ourselves so that we will not get
Yeah.
trapped into?
Good question. Like a practical solution, right? So we have to do sadhana. First, theoretically, you have to understand that we are temporary soul, permanent soul, and whatever difficulty we are having is temporary also. So that moment of endurance, it seems very big, but we have to understand the duality. Means, yes, today something happened to me, but tomorrow it will be better. So have that faith that that darkness, the period of darkness or negativity will also go away. So have that in your mind.
Should not I embrace, Mataji? Sorry. Should not I embrace the happiness? How come I cannot embrace the happiness that is happening to me, and how can I surpass it?
No, you can embrace the happiness. I'm not saying you all not to be happy. You can be happy, but you have to realize that that happiness will end. So then you should not be in distress when that happiness ends.
By embracing, I'm also actually getting influenced. I mean, there is a fine line, like you told, sadhana has to be there.
See, I'm not saying reject happiness. Take happiness with the realization that it is temporary. And be prepared for an unhappy moment also. Just like you embrace happiness, you embrace unhappiness also. Okay? So this theoretical background knowledge, plus this is theoretical, that you're a soul and not body, that these difficulties are temporary. These are theoretical backgrounds, but to be able to practically do it, and again, I will tell you from my personal experience, you have to do sadhana. And sadhana means ABC. ABC. B is reading books. Like, books like this, the Bhagavad-gītā and Srila Prabhupada books that will give you this knowledge, and see as chanting. So some kind of sadhana you should have that will make you, a stronger person. That strength, that inner strength you have to build up. Just like, you'll do weightlifting to build your muscles externally, you have to do some weightlifting internally for your, mind and intelligence to be stronger. And that comes through chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that cleans your soul, cleans your mind, intelligence, and your heart, and then the Lord will come and sit, and then he will guide you from inside, and then that makes you very balanced person from inside. So that, and some worship you can do. You could start ways of connecting to the Lord, offer him some prashadam. If you have difficulty, you can always go to the deity and tell them your difficulty, seek help, internally pray. Prayers also work. So internally pray for a solution. So first you tolerate the solution, you tolerate the problem. Means don't hyper response nahi karne ka. So sit down calmly, take small things at a time, see if you can change anything about the situation. If you can change, you work towards that change instead of wasting your energy hyperventilating. You put your energy into problem solving. Then if something there is that cannot solve the problem, or there are people that you cannot change, you tolerate. So you understand that this is beyond me. So that understanding of what you can change, what you cannot change, is also intelligence. And then to stay steady and calm, that calmness that we are trying to create in that disturbing situation comes through sadhana that I'm saying. Chanting, eating prasadam, reading books. Okay. So that spiritual practices have to be done, because otherwise what I'm telling will remain only theory. And this, from my personal experience, I'm telling you, it may take a long time, but definitely that tolerance will come. I mean, this is one thing that is bound to happen, because in my own personal life, I used to be, very disturbed for little things. Like, somebody says something, I used to start crying, or, I didn't come first in the class. I used to get very agitated, and out of that vengeance to that girl who came first, I would, read again and get first. So all this happened. But, through sadhana, now the same situation can come, and, I'm able to, stay more calm. So by taking bhakti, your problems won't vanish. Like, many babas, and they will say, like, if you come to me, I will solve your problem. Your health will become fine. You'll get money. Your daughter will behave. So nothing of that sort, this bhakti yoga will promise. The difficulties are there. The difficulties will be there in this material world. But our sadhana will allow us to endure those difficulties. Means we won't be so disturbed. We won't be so agitated. So it will change us internally. The transformation is internal, not external. External situation, we may not be able to change. So those who promise that, if you take this prasadam, or if you put this vibhuti, or if you come to me and give me some donation, your difficulties will disappear, should not take that, because that is a false statement. This material world, there will be difficulties. You have a material body, there will be difficulties. What Bhakti Yoga, what ISKCON is trying to do is transform your soul internally, so you can endure these external difficulties. So if you're internally balanced, you're able to withstand the external difficulties. So that is what we are trying to teach. That is why this knowledge has to be applied. It has to be applied knowledge. So it has to be, what was the term I used for applied knowledge? Something, there are two terms, vidya and so information is different from knowledge. So this is knowledge, means you have to apply. Information is just something you take and not do anything with it. So every aspect of Bhagavad-gītā that I am telling you has to be applied in your knowledge.
Jnana.
Jnana Vijnana. Thank you. Yes, Gyan means only giving information. Vijnana means applying it to your life. So every aspect of Bhagavad-gītā is meant for us to apply in our life. And that's why it's called a manual for your life.
Thank you, Mother.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, ma'am. Hare Krishna.
Any other questions? Anushri, Bhavana, Litika, Matulika. Okay, I'm going to end it here. We'll connect next week. Thank you for joining this Sunday. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. This prayer just means, I'm saluting to all the Vaishnavas in this forum, and Any mistakes on my part, please forgive me. And whatever knowledge I have tried to share is all by the mercy of my acharyas. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.